Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Halal Times YouTube channel. Today we are excited to bring you another important topic, which is important for every Muslim living in a non-Muslim majority country or the Muslims visiting these type of places. So the question for today is, can a Muslim eat in a restaurant that serves pork, or you could say haram foods as well? Muslims living in a non-Muslim country or Muslim visitors to these countries often face a dilemma. Does Islam allow them to eat in a restaurant that serves pork too, apart from serving halal or permissible food? The answer to this question is important for millions of Muslims living in non-Muslim majority countries. And of course, I'm one of them. Abdul Fattah Idris, professor of Islamic jurisprudence at Al-Azhar University, said that if you know that the meat or any other food that is originally halal for Muslims, but is cooked from fats or oils extracted from pigs, then it is haram or prohibited to eat this food. Of course, there is no question about that. Similarly, if the food is cooked where pork was cooked, for example, in the same pot or same pan, it becomes haram to eat it too, because the impurity of the pork will then be transferred to the halal food being served as well. In Japan, we've seen a lot of mainstream restaurants that serve halal food dishes apart from serving their regular, which are of course haram food items. So should you eat in these restaurants? To my understanding, that may depend on a lot of factors. Personally speaking, we cannot eat there as the smell of pork being served in those restaurants is too much for us to bear. But of course, I'm nobody to give any fatwa on this issue. You also need to verify whether they use separate utensils to cook and serve halal food. Food storage is an important factor to look at when deciding whether you should eat in these type of restaurants. The question you may want to confirm before you decide to eat in these places is whether do they use the same refrigerator or freezer to store halal and haram foods? If yes, food storage is another important factor to look at when deciding whether to eat there in these type of places. The question you may want to ask them, do they use the same refrigerator or freezer to store halal and haram foods? The best option for them would be to use separate fridges. If it's not possible for whatever reasons, they need to store halal food over and above haram food so that halal food does not become contaminated with the haram one. Another related question which you may want to ask them is whether they make conscious effort to keep halal and haram foods away from each other while cutting and preparing food, or do they properly wash their hands when preparing halal dishes? The most important reason for confirming these issues is that you do not want any cross-contamination of foods. Whether cross-contamination happens or not depends on the circumstances and conditions of each restaurant in question. So you must confirm it before you actually decide to consume anything from those places. Should you eat in these restaurants? As we mentioned, it's at the end of the day, it's going to be your decision, but we're not going to give you any fatwa on this. You should eat other kind of foods that are not cooked this way. For example, roasted fish or vegetables or the like. If you have to go to these restaurants, that could be one option. But even then, you may want to confirm whether these foods were contaminated with the non-halal foods. For example, pork and vegetables were kept together, or how they basically cooked these foods. Did they use separate utensils? What did they do? What is their process inside the kitchen? Do they properly wash pans and any other utensils which they have to use for cooking purposes? Do they properly wash dishes which they serve to you? These are important questions. And of course, we do try to ask these questions whenever we go. We have to go to these kind of restaurants. On the other hand, another possibility is that there are many other restaurants in the vicinity. It's possibility, of course, that are owned by Muslims and provide halal food too. You should go to such restaurants instead. However, in case you do not have any other choice, the best way is to confirm all their cooking procedures before you order any dish from these type of places. Thank you so much. And inshallah, in a short while, we will be able to bring you another episode from the Halal Times. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much and salam alaikum.